Yeah, hi everyone. Myself Dr. Roshan. Today we are going to discuss our topic evaporation. I already provided the PPT of this evaporation to all of you, and hopefully you all went through these PPTs. And now today we are going to discuss this evaporation process. So if you have the queries after this session, so you can mail me. I will rectify all the queries, so feel free to contact if you have any queries. So let's continue without wasting our time. So first we have to go for the definition of this evaporation. So what is evaporation? It is a heating process in which heat is applied to the food product and water is removed from the food product. So with the application of heat, the basic principle behind this evaporation is heat and mass transfer. There are various techniques in which heat and mass transfer will follow. We already discussed in our class about the drying, dehydration, concentration. So evaporation is the another technique in which heat and mass transfer will follow. When we apply the heat energy to the food product, the water will comes out from our food product and it will reduce the load of available water from our food product. So particularly evaporation is used to preserve the food product. So basically when we are removing the water content from our food product, what will occur? It will enhance the shelf life of our food product. Basically it will prevent the microbial spoilage. As you know that the microorganisms, they require water for their growth, for their multiplication. If water will be not available for them, so the growth will be reduced, the multiplication can be reduced. So with the help of removal of water we can do this thing. Another important thing of the evaporation is that we can reduce the volume of our food products. So basically during the reduction of this volume we can reduce the transportation cost. So with the help of evaporation we can increase the shelf life. With the help of evaporation we can reduce the transportation cost. We can develop a food product, a new food product. With the help of evaporation we can. That evaporation generally followed in juice industry, in milk industries. The better example is that if we will concentrate the tomato juice, so we can find a new product that is called as tomato purees or tomato paste. So with the help of evaporation we can do this thing. So to do this evaporation we require the equipments that are called as evaporators. So evaporators are the main functional component to do this evaporation. The evaporators that are generally used depends upon the requirement of our food product, depends upon the economic value of our food industry. So this one is the general diagram. You can easily see here when we apply the heat energy to our food product, what is going on. The vapors is coming out from our food product. Like here you can easily see we are supplying heat energy, the vapors are coming out and these vapors go into the outer environment, and after getting that in this outer environment the condensation is going to start. So this is the simplest phenomena. Now we have to discuss the difference between evaporation as well as the vaporization. There are two different terms. These terms are technically differ. So in evaporation basically it is the process by which liquid changes into its vapor at a temperature below its boiling points. This one is very important. Means the evaporation is occurred at below their boiling point, but vaporization will occur above their boiling point. Second difference is that it takes place at all temperature, but vaporization can take place at their boiling temperature. Next one is temperature may change during evaporation. We can change the temperature, we can reduce, we can increase or decrease the temperature, but here we cannot change the temperature because it will occur at only their boiling temperature. Next difference is it is a slow and silent process, it is a fast process. Because here the slow and silent, why we call as slow and silent? Because at here we are providing the lower temperature below the boiling point, that's why it is a slow process. Next, evaporation takes place only at surface of liquid. That you can see here that the evaporation during this the vapors are coming in the atmosphere from the surface only, but vaporization can take place from the whole mass of the liquid. So these are the difference between evaporation and the vaporization. Now the evaporators, as I already explained, that the main equipment that are required for the evaporation are called as the evaporators. So an evaporator is a device used to turn the liquid into its gaseous form. Many type of evaporators and many variation in processing techniques have been developed to various food products. So these development, or we can say that the selection of evaporator includes some consideration. These consideration may be the operational capacity, means whatever is our requirement, what should be our production capacity. On the basis of that we can select an evaporators. Second, on the basis of degree of requirement. So basically on the degree of core requirement, whatever thing we required, means if we want volatile substances, so which type of evaporator we will use. Second one is the heat sensitivity of the product. On the basis of heat sensitivity we can select any evaporator. On the basis of recovery volatile compounds we can select any evaporator. On the basis of ease of handling we can select the evaporators, and on the basis of their cost effectiveness, means the evaporators we have to select, it will not affect much more on our cost of our food product. So if we had selected a evaporator that will increase the cost of food product, so ultimately the cost will be increased and the consumers will not like to purchase that food product because the cost is very high. So these consideration we have to keep in our mind, and we have to select a particular type of evaporator for to do the evaporation of a food product. So this one is the two criteria that we generally select during the selection of a evaporator. First one is the best suited for the duty. Second one is the equipment arranged for the most efficient and economical use. So we will consider these two factors that include all these criteria for the selection of our evaporators. Next we comes to the equipment designs. The typical evaporator is made up of three functional sections. So these three functional sections are what? First one is the heat exchanger. It is also called as calendaria. Second one is the evaporating section, where the liquid boils and evaporates. This one is called as evaporating section. Now the third one is the separator. In this separator we have to separate the liquid as well as the vapors from our food product. So in many evaporators all these three sections are contained in a single vertical cylinder. So particularly that equipments that means we can say that the evaporators that contains three main sections: heat exchanger, the evaporating section, as well as the separator. So with the help of these section we can construct a evaporators, and we can use that evaporators. Now we comes to the on the basis of energy saving evaporation system. It is of two types: single effect evaporator and the multiple effect evaporator. This single effect evaporator is what? Basically, as name indicate, in this single effect evaporators, as I already explained that there are three sections of an evaporator. First one is the first one is this heat exchanger. This one is your heat exchanger. You can see easily here. This one is your heat exchanger, and calendaria, clear. Now the evaporating section. So this heat exchanger, this one is the evaporating section. The upper of this section, this one is the evaporating section, and next one is the separator. So this one is the separator. Heat exchanger, evaporating section, and this one is the separator. So these three components will be present in each type of evaporator. Now we comes to the single effect evaporator. So as name indicate, the single effect evaporators, in this effect of evaporators, the ultimately what is going on here, you can easily say this is the construction of a single effect evaporator. So we are putting our liquid, means this one is the liquid feed. We are putting our liquid from this pipe, it will goes here, clear, and we are providing steam from this section. So ultimately the liquid will moves in these pipes and the steam will moves out of these pipes. So what will occur? The liquid will start to boil and start to evaporate. After evaporation it will comes here. Clear? Means here the steam, we can say that vapors as well as the food product will be here. So this one is the separator. This separator, it will collect the vapors, will be collected from this here. This is the cooling water unit, condensation unit, we can say that, and the concentrated food product will comes out from this section. Clear? So this one is the single effect evaporator. Means here we are supplying the heat energy, and after condensation, after evaporation, the liquid, the vapors will be condensed here. Single effect means there is no further use of this vapors. This is called as single effect evaporators. So this one is the mechanism of this single, as I already explained to you. Now we move to the another multiple effect evaporator. This multiple effect evaporator is important because it will reduce the consumption of energy. Basically here we can easily see that in that single effect evaporator the vapor will be condensed. Clear? But here we are using this vapor to the second section. This is the technical difference between single effect and multiple effect evaporator. So what is going here? So particularly we are providing our feed from this section. Clear? This section we are providing the feed. I think it will be visible to all of you. So we have to provide the feed from this section. The liquid feed will enter with these pipes and it will going to this section. Clear? And the steam is providing with these tubes. Clear? Same as in single effect evaporator, the product will moves in the pipes and steam will moves outside of the pipes. Water will start to evaporate. It will comes in this separator. The vapors will be separated and the concentrated food will be separated from this portion. Clear? These vapors, basically these vapors have some energy. Ultimately in single effect evaporator we are going to condensing, means we are providing extra energy to condense them, but these have some energy, it will goes to the second section. Clear? So basically the temperature in first section will be very high and it will be reduced to the next section, and after that it will again reduce to the next section. So ultimately we can say that if the vapor goes to the next section, up to 2 we can call them the double effect evaporator, 3 we can call them triple effect evaporator, and more than 3 we can call them multiple effect evaporator. So ultimately we are consuming the energy here. In single effect evaporator there is no provision of consuming the energy. So this one is the multiple. Next, on the basis of feeding operation, there are two types of evaporation operation, we can say that. Basically this is the operation, these are not the evaporator, these are the operation. These operation are, first one is the backward feed operation and second one is the forward feed operation. In backward feed operation, as name indicates, you can easily see here, in backward feed operation the food, or we can say that the feed will moves in the opposite direction of the steam. Clear? So here you can easily say this one is the direction of steam. Clear? And this one is the direction of feed. Here you can see, so feed is moving in this direction and steam is moving in this direction. Clear? So both are in opposite direction. So in backward feed operation we have to put our feed in the last calender area and the steam in the first calender area. Clear? So this one is the backward feed operation. Next we comes to the forward feed operation. In forward feed operation both the steam as well as the food will have or will move in the same direction. Here we can also say that the co-current will be follow, but in backward the counter current mechanism will occur. Clear? So this backward feed operation, here the steam is going in this direction. Clear? And the feed will going in this direction. This one is the direction of feed. Clear? The steam direction and this product, or we can say that the feed direction. Clear? You might not be misunderstand with these arrow. Basically these are the movement. Basically this is the construction of that, but the movement will be the steam will move in this direction and the product will move in the same parallel direction. So this one is the forward feed direction. Now on the basis of residence time, it is again divided into two categories: long residential time evaporator as well as the short residential time evaporators. The long residential time, where the residence time is more, basically these are the jacketed vessel evaporator, coil evaporator, short tube evaporator. In short, the residential time is very less. The long tube vertical evaporator, plate evaporator, acetating film evaporator, centrifugal film evaporator. So these are on the basis of their residential time. Now we are going to move our main section, that is included in our syllabus. So particularly the more common type of evaporators that are included in our syllabus are batch pan evaporator, forced circulation evaporator, natural circulation evaporator, rising film evaporator, falling film, rising falling film evaporator, scraped surface, or it is also called as thin film evaporator, and last one is the vacuum pan evaporator. So one by one we will discuss all these evaporators. All are included in your syllabus, so don't skip these evaporators. So first one is your batch pan evaporators. This is the simplest evaporator. Here you can easily see from the diagram. So this one is the open pan type structure. So particularly we have to put our food here in this orange section. This one is your food product. We have to put our food. This one is the outer jacket for the steam. Clear? So steam will be inserted from this section and food will be here. So when this food will becomes heated, it will start to evaporate, and that evaporator, that vapors will comes into this condenser, and after condensing we are going to discarding this condensate. Clear? And after some times our food will becomes concentrated. Some condensate can be removed from this point, because when this steams is moving in this, so some condensate that can be removed from this section, and after concentration the product will comes out from this section. So this one is the simplest batch pan evaporator. Next one is your natural circulation evaporator. Natural circulation, as name indicate, means the circulation of your food product will be natural, means there is no energy we are applying to circulate the food product. So in natural circulation evaporation, the short vertical tube, typically 1 to 2 meter long and 50 to 100 millimeter in diameter, are arranged inside the tubes, and the portion is concentrated and the product is concentrated. So particularly this is the construction, you can easily see here, this is the construction for a natural circulation evaporator. You can see here that we have to feed our food product, particularly we have to feed our product from this section. So this will moves here, and this one is the steam section. So particularly when we are applying the heat energy, the product will rise with the help of this steam energy. With the help of this energy, the evaporation will start and it will rise. After rising, it will move to this section. Clear? So here this product will comes downward and the vapors will be collected here, and it will be condensed, and it can be discarded. So from here we can see that this one is the natural circulation evaporator, means naturally it will moves downward, and after evaporation, after boiling, after heating, it will moves upward, and it will again go in this section. When when we require our desirable concentration, it can be removed out from here, this section. Clear? So if some product that has concentrated, we can remove, and that some product that have moisture content, it will again recirculate it. So this one is the natural circulation evaporator. Next one is the forced circulation evaporator. So in forced circulation, as name indicate, basically we required a circulating pump. You can see here, means we required a energy, we required a force that will pump our food product, and it will moves in this calandria, the heated calandria. So the same thing will occur inside that. The water vapors start to vaporize, and it will goes into this separation unit, and here we can collect the water vapors, and the concentrated food product will be collected from this side. Here you can see that this one is the feed inlet, clear. This one is the pump. It will force the food product, and heating will going on with the help of this steam, and we are condensing the water vapors, and after this evaporation the concentrated food will be collected from here. You can easily see here, and the difference between natural as well as enforced is that here the recirculation of food will going on, but here there is no recirculation, it is stopped here, clear. So we will remove our concentrated food from here, and we have to feed our food from this section. Next we comes to the rising film evaporator. So rising film evaporator, as name indicates, the food will rise in our evaporator. These are considered to be the first modern evaporator used in the industry, the rising unit. And the rising film principle was developed commercially by using a vertical tube heated from the outside with steam. So here you can see that the feed we have to applied, it will goes in this section, the steam will start to raise our food product, clear. So upon heating it will start to raising, and it will comes in this condenser unit, clear. Here this it will comes in this separation unit. Here this separation unit will separate out the this vapors and the food products, clear. So this one is your rising film evaporator. Now there is a difference between this rising film evaporator and this natural circulating evaporators. So this one is your natural circulating evaporator, and this one is your rising film evaporator. You can see here there is a clear difference that this rising film evaporator is not connected this portion. Basically we have to regularly give the food product, and we have to regularly take out this finished product or that concentrated food product. But in case of natural circulating evaporators, this is connected. This is the main difference between natural circulating evaporator and the rising film evaporators. Hope it will be okay to all of you. Next we are going to move our next falling film evaporator. So as rising film evaporator is there, like that falling film evaporator will be there. The falling film evaporator, it will works on the basis of this gravitational force. We have to apply our feed, clear. We will provide our feed from this section, it will moves downward, clear. The downward will moves, it will moves downward, and steam will be injected from this section. With the help of gravitational force it will moves, and in these separators the vapors will be separated as well as the concentrated food will be separated. So this one is the simplest. Basically the gravitational force is working here. Next we are moving to the rising falling film evaporator. So particularly it is a combination of rising as well as the falling film evaporator. So here from this diagram you can easily see this one is the feeding section. We are feeding our food product, and this feeding, this is a demarcation. Particularly this one is the rising. From this section it is rising, clear. From this section it is rising, and after rising it will goes to this falling, clear. So here both the effect will be followed, means rising as well as the falling. So this is the again separator is there. Particularly it will separate the vapors, and it will goes to the condensation unit, and the finished product will be collected here. So this one is our rising falling film evaporator. Next we are moving to our vacuum evaporation. So ultimately all these evaporators that are connected with the vacuum, so basically we require the lower energy under the vacuum process. So vacuum evaporation is the process of causing the pressure in a liquid filled containers to be reduced below the vapor pressure of the liquid, causing the liquid to evaporate at a lower temperature than normal. Although the process can be applied to any type of liquid at any vapor pressure. So it is generally used to describe the boiling of water by lowering the container's thermal internal pressure below standard atmospheric pressure and causing the water to boil at room temperature. So this is designed to a sophisticated food products that are very heat sensitive food products. So particularly these vacuum evaporators are used to evaporate or to reduce the moisture content in that food product. So this one is the general construction of the vacuum pan evaporator. So you can easily see here that this one is the feed in, so particularly feed will enter from this section, and this one is the heating coil, or we can say that heat exchanger will be there. Plate heat exchanger we generally used. So it will goes to the vapor separation unit, condenser is there, and the finished product will be collected from this section. So particularly this is the similar thing, but the main thing is that this is connected to the vacuum for non-condensable. Clear? So this is connected to the vacuum pump. If we will follow all this evaporation that is connected to the vacuum pump, or we can say that all these evaporation that is going into the vacuum environment means air free environment, so that is called as vacuum evaporator, or this one is the vacuum pan evaporator. Next one is the scraped surface or thin film evaporator. It is a very popular evaporator. Particularly in this thin film evaporator, food is pumped into a vertical cylinder. You can easily see here the construction of this. In this thin film evaporator, food is pumped into a vertical cylinder which has a rotating element that spreads the food into the thin layer on a cylinder wall. The cylinder wall of the double jacket construction usually is heated by steam. Water is quickly washed from the thin food layer, and the concentrated food is simultaneously wiped from the cylinder wall. The concentrated food and water vapors are continuously discharged into a external separator, from which product is removed at the bottom, and the water vapors pass to a condenser. So this thing you can easily see, this one is the barrel, particularly rotator assembling is here. So we are providing the inlet of food, means this one is your feed inlet. Clear? So this one is your feed inlet. It will move in this jacket and it will rotate. Clear? As the name indicates, the scraped film evaporator, basically when it will rotate, it will stick on the surface. Clear? It will stick on the surface, and there is a water jacket, outer heating jacket will be there. In that heating jacket, maybe hot water will move or maybe steam will be moved. So when this food product will comes in this water jacket or this steam jacket, it will becomes concentrated and it will it will rotate. Clear? So this will rotate and it will stick on the surface, and after that this will start the drying, or we can say that evaporation of water will start. After completion of this, it will be removed with the help of scraper. So the scraper that will collect the food product from here, and the vapors that will be collected from this section, that condenser. Clear? This condenser, it will collect the vapors, and after condensation it will be discarded and the food will be collected from this section. Now this one is the again this scrapped or thin film evaporator. and this is the horizontal portion. We are applying our food from this section. This one is the rotor, particularly it will rotate, and condenser we are going to collect from this section. This is the steam, outer jacket of steam we are providing in this outer jacket. So same phenomena will be going on like in this vertical section. So it will move, this will move, this particular this barrel will move, this rotor will move, and the food product will be stick on the surface, and after scraping we can easily get the food product. This one is your concentrated food product, and vapor will be goes out from this section. So this is all about the important evaporators. Hopefully it will be clear to all of you. Next we are moving to our next section. This is the application portion. So basically the application basically the application of these evaporators are to product concentration. Second one is dried feed pre-concentration. Now third one is volume reduction. Fourth one is water solvent recovery, and last one is the crystallization. So this is the basic application. I already explained in the beginning of this presentation. So basically if we want to concentrate our food product, we will do this evaporation. If we want to reduce the volume, we will do. If we want to extract some solvent, suppose some volatile compounds are there and you want to extract that things, you want to collect that volatile compounds, so you can use these evaporators. You can reduce the volume, you can crystallize the food product, you can concentrate the food product. So this is the typical application of this evaporator in a food industry. Now these are some products which can be obtained with the help of these evaporators. So like in these food product we can do the evaporation in apple juice, in coffee, in some gelatin food products, in liquid eggs. So there are lots of examples. If you want to concentrate these food products, so with the help of evaporation we can do this phenomena. Now we comes to the factors affecting rate of evaporation. So there are lots of factors that will affect on the evaporation rate. First factor is the physical property. The physical property of a liquid which are of direct importance to evaporation. So physical property means the viscosity of your food product, thermal conductivity, density of your food product, specific heat of your food product, surface tension present in your food product, and the elevation in boiling point of your food. This is the physical property that will affect on the evaporation rate. So if your food will be highly viscous in nature, so we required higher energy to evaporate the food product. If the surface tension is high, so in that case we required more energy. So this is the physical properties that affect on the boiling point, or we can say that evaporation rate. So basically these are some technical terms. You should know about these terms. The surface tension of water decreases significantly when organic components are present in the aqueous system. The surface tension of liquid food material is lower due to the surface active component present. Elevation in boiling point is caused by the solute water interaction, and it is undesirable in evaporation since it requires a higher temperature of heating medium to affect the same drying force. It is particularly high in concentration aqueous solution of salt and alkalis. Now next we move to the fouling in evaporators. So fouling is the formation or deposition of any food particles on the walls of the evaporator. So these reduce the efficiency of our evaporators. So basically we can increase the cost of your food product. Ultimately when the deposition will occur, the penetration of heat, or we can say the transfer of heat, will be lower, so it will increase the cost of your food product. And this fouling includes scaling, which is precipitation of inorganic salt in the heating surface. So the fouling is the important factors, or we can say that the So the prevention of falling is very much important. We have to reduce the falling rate so that we can increase the efficiency and we can reduce the cost of our food product. Next we comes to the food quality consideration. Evaporation should minimize the undesirable changes in quality and nutritive value of our food product. Means we can retain the flavor, aroma and color of food product. The loss of the vitamins should be minimum. The loss of color change like browning, caramelization should be minimum so that the quality can be maintained in the evaporation. And loss of aroma component during evaporation of fruit juices and aqueous extract can be restored by aroma recovery in a distillation or add back to the fresh juice. Particularly in evaporating there is a system, so in that particularly we can design the evaporators so that we can collect the volatile compounds in a separator. So these volatile compounds can be reused in that particular food product. So with the help of these type of evaporator we can maintain the quality of your food product. Now next we move to the hygienic consideration. The hygienic guidelines we should follow in the evaporation process. We should clearly clean the evaporators. We should regularly clean the evaporators. We should check any falling, if any deposition is going on. We have to do the CIP of that particular equipment. So the hygienic consideration should be maintained during the process of this evaporation. If we are not following these hygienic conditions, what is going on, the falling will the deposition as well as the falling will start, and it will reduce the production capacity of that food product. It will cause the destruction of the quality, and it will increase the cost of your food product. So particularly the hygienic consideration is very much important. And so students, this one is the all about your evaporations. If you have any query, you can contact me on my email ID. I think all of you have my email ID. You can write me on email.